So the Elon Musk, Donald Trump clown show continues, and Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, is like, hey, 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 hold my beer. I want to be clown number one. And have a watch.
Exactly what you heard President Trump said today. What are you doing for us? I know what we're doing for you, but what are you doing for us? And I think that's the right way to look at it. That's our president's way of looking at it, and that's what you should expect.
So what are you doing for us? I guess that's the subject of today's video. Honestly, we have to go over this stuff because the dialogue and the discussion in the USA has gotten so dumbed down. I wonder if we're at like peak idiocracy and then we're going to be like, whoa, that's never going to work ever again, because the stuff that they're saying, the stuff they're proposing doesn't add up. And they have to keep perpetuating these lies and nonsense to keep this essentially charade going. But people are ultimately going to catch on to it, because what I thought this one was fascinating, even Fox News, which is, supportive of the Republican Party and, Musk and Trump, this kind of stuff, they're even starting to question it because, there are many facets to how this thing works, because Republicans also like to say, hey, we're going to support big business, this kind of stuff. And there's going to be many CEOs be like, the math doesn't make sense. You got to call it out. So you'll see what I'm saying. They're promising at the moment $150,000 or less income. I guess they're going to pay no taxes, theoretically. You'll see what I mean. Have a watch.
But just to be clear on this, you said that, no taxes for people under $150,000. So you're saying that could happen in the next 2 years. So I'm just looking at the numbers here. The bottom 90% of the U.S. tax base is people under around $150,000. That's the way they lay it out.
Right, so they even throw up a graphic on screen, and credit to Fox News, at least they're saying something about this. And I think this particular reporter, and this is something you'll find a lot on TV, is a lot of these people, they're not stupid. They're just kind of instructed to say, don't question any of these people, or they won't come back on. And that's sort of the challenge that we face in today's media environment, is that if you challenge any particular politician or whatever, they won't come back on your show. And then that's okay. So then we don't talk to anyone. So, I mean, I guess you could argue one of the big problems that we have right now is politicians or you could call it cabinet members, are cowards, basically, right? They don't want to go and face real questions. They just want supportive audiences and supportive reporters. And so then reporters have a couple of choices. Well, gee, do I not get an interview at all? Or do I let them on and not question him? So here, to credit to Fox News, at least they do question a bit, right? Because they're like, hey, your math is not really going to make sense. Have a watch to his answer, though.
That is $531 billion in federal taxes. It's a quarter of all federal tax revenue. So you're saying in 2 years, we could be in a position where people who make under $150K will pay no taxes in America?
Well, this is aspirational, right? When we balance the budget, that is a move that the president has on his mind and that he has discussed. Balance the budget, and then let's take care of all of the people. Like you said, the 90% of Americans who are 150,000 or less. That's why they elected Donald Trump. That's why you've got Elon Musk.
See, and then she just doesn't question, right? So this is sort of that illustrates the problem that we have right now. One is, so for example, if Howard Lutnick came on, my channel, and we talked about it, I would question him, and I would get real answers from the guy and call him out and be like, yo, come on, man, let's be real. But they wouldn't come on my show, right? Because they don't want real questions. And so, like I'm saying, this is sort of the media landscape that we're in right now. They only go to friendly, channels or friendly news sources. And I want to make this also really clear. There's a lot of news channels out there, and I'm sure you guys watch a lot of these things, be it on the left side, Democrat-leaning side. But many of those channels are so ingrained into the party that they don't question either. And it's hard to get any good information out there. So I just wanted to mention it's not just a problem with Fox News, it's a problem all over the place. You could talk about MSNBC if you want to mention that as well, right? And you guys know what I'm talking about. You inherently know. Not that I disagree with every politician in the whole world, but you still need to have some real discussions and actually question them and call them out in some BS. And that could come from regardless of party or politician. The math doesn't make sense. So on top of that, they're saying, okay, they're making promises they can't keep on taxes under 150,000. There's no way they're going to be able to keep that promise. And then they're now claiming that they're going to make a bunch of money with this Trump gold card thing. If you don't know, it's kind of strange to be pushing this because effectively, Musk, Trump, all these people, they want to kick out all the immigrants. Basically, that's what they're looking to do. Deportations is a big priority for them, and now they're talking about bringing in a bunch of foreigners. Seriously, that's their plan. It's the Trump gold card, and the idea is that you're going to sell U.S. residency for $5 million each. And they're claiming they're going to get $1 trillion from this. Have a listen, you'll see what I mean.
Right? And then you have the Trump card probably raising between $500 billion and $1 trillion a year. You've got a balanced budget. You've got a fundamental change of America.
The Trump gold card so far, Howard.
So she's even asking, like, how many people do you really think are going to have, $5 million each to buy this U.S. residency? Which, I'm sure there's going to be some, but I don't think it's going to be as many as they say it's going to be. So he'll say like tens of thousands. You'll see.
How many people?
Well, we're going to announce over the next 2 weeks a pilot program, which is going to help Congress be able to score that in and help this reconciliation bill.
So it's interesting because there could be some meetings or deals behind closed doors where there's particular Russian oligarchs, or you could have even China's oligarchs or Saudi. I keep mentioning those countries because a lot of this is going to end up being money laundering to, get whatever foreign money to come in to either bribe whatever politicians, use their sovereign wealth fund. That's the one that Trump signed into executive order. I keep mentioning stuff because it's not talked about enough. And then they're going to use that money to funnel into whatever crypto or AI projects, etc. So that's what's interesting when he mentioned, like, right, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to mention, we're going to do some sort of pilot program. And this is the kind of stuff that guys want you to pay attention to. When in doubt, any of these issues, follow the money. Then he's going to make some wild claims. A lot of people are going to do this. So we'll listen some more here.
But we expect tens of thousands. Just the inquiries I've had, tens of thousands of applications at $5 million each. We are working our tails off to balance the budget for the American people and for Donald Trump. That's why they elected Donald Trump, and he is working really hard at it.
You say the goal.
See, it's strange. So this is what a snake oil salesman sounds like. And that's why I want to make sure it's really clear, because if we want to make things change, right? You can't just talk to the converted. You can't just preach to the choir, right? Because I know sometimes people who watch the channel, they just need some sanity and stuff like that. But we also, if you have conversations with people around you who, think the Trump and the Musk plans are going to be awesome, just show them what it is, right? They're making all these promises that they can't keep. And then even some of these proposals don't even really make a lot of sense. And they'll try to cover up exactly what it is. And that's why I said, to make it really clear, it looks like there must be some sort of deals behind the scenes where we're going to be taking Russian oligarch money and bringing it into the country, or China or Saudi. It could be, it's not those, it could be Israeli, whatever, right? Whoever they're making partnerships with, any, number of people. But I don't think it's going to be tens of thousands of people are going to be buying these $5 million Trump gold cards. It seems kind of ridiculous. And then raising $1 trillion in revenue also seems pretty ridiculous. But this is part of, if your audience, and I'd hate to be mean, but just got to be honest, if your audience can't do math, then they don't understand these numbers to begin with at all. And so that's why it is important, actually, for any news organization, not just Fox, to say, hey, like, how can you expect to cut a quarter of the government revenue and have this even make sense, right? And that's why they come up with these numbers of like, oh, well, we're going to have people buy these Trump gold cards for $5 million each. She even asked, why not eliminate tariffs, which is a pretty interesting question. But you'll see how quickly they dodge. You'll see.
Why not just eliminate the tariffs between Canada and the United States? Is that a place that we can get to? Because it's mind-boggling. Like 25%. No, it's going to be 50%. No, we're back to 25%.
That would
why
be
not
true
just
if this
eliminate
was
all
Fox.
the tariffs?
That would be true if you were Fox Canada. Fox Canada would like that, but Fox
I'm just
USA.
asking the question. So I heard President.
See, so it's actually pretty tough to talk to these people. And hear Lutnick. So she's actually trying to ask a legitimate question here. Why not just limit it to tariffs? Just have actual trade with Canada, right? And then he just laughs and like starts talking about Fox Canada. And for all we know, and also want to be fair, maybe Fox is in this particular interview is in on the gag. They give her questions to ask. She's supposed to ask it, and then they say don't follow up. That could be it as well, right? That's hard to say because I'm not privy to behind closed doors. I just tell you what I can see, and I also want you to spot the BS. This was an interesting one as well. Trump keeps going around talking about Canada to be the 51st state, and then he's also talking about that we don't need stuff from Canada. Canada is hitting back a bit, so I want you to have a listen.
We don't need their cars. We don't need their energy. We don't need their lumber. We don't need anything they have.
We're your largest customer. There's no one that buys more products off the United States than we do. You're going to be paying a lot more for everything right across the board because you can't get aluminum anywhere else. You only produce 16% of your aluminum. We ship in over 60%. So anything that has aluminum, you're going to pay more.
So that's actually a legitimate, point. And then the follow-up question be is, okay, because this is the plan of Trump and Musk. I want to make sure the plans are clear. Their plan is we're going to put a bunch of tariffs on, other countries, and then other countries will just suddenly magically, build a whole bunch of factories in USA and invest in America. That's part of their plan. And that goes back to their Trump Gold Card, where tens of thousands of people are going to be buying, these $5 million residency cards or whatever. And so you would ask then, okay, so how quickly could we get aluminum factories theoretically or steel, right? How could we, build those factories? And then you'll watch, basically they dodge the question. And this is what a snake oil salesman does. So I just want to make it clear. You'll see it.
Tell me, how quickly can you build up enough factories to cover that aluminum in the United States? How quickly?
Well, let's talk about cars for a second. Under Trump, we had 80% utilization of cars in America.
Just talking about something
under
else.
Biden, it went down to 60.
Right. So the question was, how quickly can you build factories? And he just started talking about cars. It is, and then she's taught, basically, or told, right? And I don't know what her salary is. I don't know. You can probably figure it out. But, it's just, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. But you when you take a step back and don't get sucked into the, lies that they tell, you start to spot it very quickly. And how many people like in their audience are buying this stuff. I think, and who knows, maybe there's people out there to be like, oh, I really believe that they're going to, have no taxes for people under 150K. The reason why they say it and then they change the language to aspirational is they know they can't do it. It's nonsense. And when they, talk in this way, they'll just get people to thinking about something else. It's something like that Elon Musk does all the time. They're like, hey, your cars are having problems right now. Your stock is going down right now. You're not making much money right now. And then Elon Musk was like, well, in 2 years, you're going to have these awesome robots. You're going to make a ton of money. And people are like, oh, wow, in 2 years. And they'll just keep pushing it down, right? When you break a promise, just make new promises. That's their strategy. This is a really good example here of a snake oil salesman, right? Just learn to spot this stuff. They'll change dates like really rapidly and act like there's no big difference. You'll see what I mean by that. So you'll go from 2 years to 3 years, 4 years, whatever, back to 2 years, and you'll see.
Presidency, he would like to replace the internal revenue service with the external revenue service and let all those countries who just lean on our economy.
Years, you're saying it could take as long as 4 years, but
so she's like, in 4 years, oh yeah, and then.
But,
no, I don't want it to take 4 years.
Okay.
We want it to take 3. We want it to take 3, and obviously, aspirationally, I'd really like it to take 2, so that he has the last 2 years to hammer away, get rid of the internal revenue service, and start to replace it with the external revenue service.
A balanced budget.
Yeah, and then she may have an earpiece, or she's getting flagged off camera to like, okay, just go to the next question. He's not going to answer, but you'll see how the numbers keep changing. I wanted to bring this up as well. All of this is taking place, right? When we just had some consumer data come out. I'll read the headline. U.S. consumer sentiment tumbles, right? So U.S. Consumer sentiment is down. Long-term inflation expectations hit 32-year high. Basically, people feel very bad about the future. That's what this boils down to. People feel very bad about the future. You can actually see the charts here as well. Again, consumer sentiment is down. And there's one really big point. It says here, unemployment fears, right? You're worried about losing your job under Trump and Musk. Unemployment fears among consumers polled by the University of Michigan also surged to levels last seen in the 2008 financial crisis. So people are worried that prices are going up. They're worried like this hasn't these kind of worries about the future inflation is like, oh my God, the like 3-decade kind of thing worry. We're worried about losing our jobs the same way that we worried back in the 08 financial crisis. I lived through that. I'm older. You guys don't know I'm 50. So I remember the stuff. Anyone who's older will remember it. It was really, really ugly. And you have Trump just touting his tariffs, right? These are the kind of headlines that you get. U.S. consumer sentiment drops, price expectations soar on tariffs. I just want to make this stuff really clear. And so then their strategy to counter people's negative expectations is to be like, oh, well, it's going to be better in the future because you're going to have no taxes on 150,000. But like, what if you have no job, right? I mean, this sort of the what we're talking about here. And, I wish, I wish we could, get into a place to where we can have actual real conversations about this stuff. It's very difficult when you have these kind of people in power that just talk the way they do. That's why you have to see it for yourself. I personally don't understand how anyone watches the Fox News stuff and doesn't laugh at it, because like I mean, when he's laughing at questions, because to be fair, like he laughs at her questions when like she's asking a serious question, he just tries to laugh to talk about something else. I laugh at the whole situation because I think it's so nuts. It would be funny if it wasn't so serious, because there's a lot more serious things that obviously we talk about when people lose their jobs, their livelihoods. I mean, that's everything, right? I want to make that really clear. I know we make jokes on this channel, but I mean, I want to make it really clear. I understand it, and it's a massive amount of stress when you're don't know if you're gonna be able to put food on your table, and you have these looming layoffs. They go on TV. I just saw it today where they're just like, why would anyone question Trump? He's just trying to help with what's good for America. That's basically what it boils down to. Or don't question the president. That's the only comeback that they have, is don't question us. It's a pretty poor argument, and especially in democracy, right? Yes, we vote for leaders, and yes, you put them in office, but you serve the people, and be honest with the people, and that's all I want, and I don't think that's crazy to say. And then also on a personal note, because I really understand. I saw this. People are really upset that they feel like Schumer and the older Democrats are caving too much to Republicans. I'll just say this. I wish I could run. I'll just say that. I'm American. It's tough for me to run. I'm Asian American, right? I'm Asian. We're not viable candidates in USA. It's just how it is. We're not viable candidates within the Democratic Party. It's just how it is. And it's unfortunate. I can't put it in clearer terms. I can use more blunt words if you want me to say, but you can get the gist of it. I'll just say this. When it was interesting when Andrew Yang ran, and actually he went to my school, Brown. We're about the same age, and I've actually met him. A nice guy. But they did a poll, and remember it was in Iowa, and they asked which candidate of all the candidates out there when he was running. I can't remember what year that was. That like 4 years ago already, or no, 8 years, I guess. But he actually scored really, really highly on who you'd want to sit down and have a beer with, meaning that people actually liked the guy, but they wouldn't vote for him, right? And I'm not saying you have to vote for Andrew Yang. There are a lot of candidates out there, but we're at this sort of culture in USA where you may trust or like people, but you just want to vote for the old guard, essentially. Like, well, I see that there are other people out there running, but I just prefer to vote for really old men of a particular, skin shade or whatever. And it's an awkward situation in USA. And I don't know. I mean, this particular generation, Schumer, Trump, Biden, they're all the same. You want to talk about Pelosi, that's fine, or Mitch McConnell. There's definitely an older generation of politicians that, this may be the last cycle. Let's hope so. And we get new and fresh blood from all sides, not just one or two parties, right? From all sides. I want to make that clear and change the way that we think about things. And, regarding, who's a viable candidate, who's not, we're in USA, you still have this discussion of like someone being only of one culture, only one language, only one ethnicity, right? I hope you understand this. In USA, people intermarry all kinds of different people, right? And we're all human, and it's something that weighs on me. I just want to say this for those of you who are wondering. My wife and I, we talk about it. I wish I could run, but it's just the way that it is in USA. And in my particular stage in my life, I do YouTube these days. I feel like I have an influence and a reach here, and that's what I do. And also too, just practically speaking, my wife's Korean. We have to take care of her parents. If I ever were to go back to the USA, there's residency requirements. I've been out of the country for so long. It's just not really practical, both politically in the sense of, the way the Democratic Party is constructed or independent parties are constructed, right? You can't really run independent. It's tough. It's very, very tough. I think Bernie Sanders might be the only one who's done it for years. And it's tough. And congrats to Bernie Sanders. Also congrats to the Vermont voters who have I think it's Vermont. I think you correct me if I'm wrong in my states, but there are certain states out there that will go for more different types of candidates. Like Minnesota's and maybe another one that will go for more independent leaning candidates. But but I hope my opinion when I see like this lunacy that we're seeing on a daily basis, hopefully this stuff will change. One of the things though that the younger voters have been talking about, and this is part of the article, this is from the New York Times here, was that there is a sea change though in the trust factors that people have regarding what they see on, say, social media, podcasting or whatever versus traditional media. Like what you saw with Fox News is the reporter barely questions the person. But we have the issue though is that politicians and stuff like that only will go to friendly places, which is and also I think it speaks to the veracity / honesty of the kind of people that we are in power, and also to whether or not they're honestly want to have a real conversation or just want to put out their propaganda. So that's my thoughts on this stuff. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.